Hi everyone and welcome to your weekly tarot guidance for June the 27th and July the 3rd. Well, astrologically speaking, we don't have a very easy week and I'm going to be honest about this straightforward. We have a new moon conjunct Black Moon Lilith and all of this is squared by Jupiter. And this is the action part, but all of this action is taking place under a stationary Neptune, which also goes retrograde around the day of the new moon, so that makes it extremely deep. It makes it extremely heavy, and it makes it all that much confusing. Now, it is absolutely true that there is a beautiful celestial conversation, Mercury trining Saturn, which on one hand is very, very helpful because regardless of how lost we may feel, and regardless of how illusioning and disillusioning and as I said, Jupiter squaring the new moon, Mein Kampf, whatever we are fighting for, whatever we are investing our beliefs into, well, chances are that right now we get the fighting stage. Now, what does that mean? Not that we have to physically fight or have a conflict. No, no, no. We just have to keep on going as strong, as devoted, and determined as possible to pump all of our energy into our desire, our will, the will which hopefully is alchemically purified and in its most pure and divine form as it burns in your heart ultimately, because we do need that for Jupiter. It needs the desire, the dream, the wish, the faith, the ideal, the inspiration, the aspiration has to burn deeply in your heart, and you need to be really, really sure about yourself, not necessarily purely rationally, even though Saturn with Mercury does help us, because it will give us all the rational reasons as well why we should make that big choice, the big commitment, the big opposite of the commitment, the big break, the whatever it is that we are almost internally being prepared to do. Well, this week chances are we need to do it, but at the same time, we need to be careful not to allow that new moon in Cancer with Lilith involved to be a dark or an unfavorable, a bad, misfortunate, toxic, violent new beginning. We must make sure to prevent that. And how do we prevent it? It's not really all that hard, love. That's it. When there is a lot of pure love in your heart, then Neptune from illusion turns into the divine source. Because the divine love is so pure and strong and omnipotent that it can even distort anything. That's why we need a lot of love, because we're so lost in so very many ways, and regard astrologers are just as lost as mystics, as everyone is lost. Let's just take this for a fact. No one, not me, not anyone knows the truth. No one knows what's going on, and everyone into it only because the source is communicating with them, but it's not saying what's happening. It's just saying stay strong or whatever like this. So this is where all of us are lost. Don't get me. No one knows what's going on. No one even knows what's in the divine plan, but everyone knows what the divine is inspiring. The divine is not telling us what it's doing, but it's telling us what we should be doing. Stay strong, stay hopeful, focus on our own life, but the positive side of it. Because the dramas, the doom and gloom, our wounds, our weaknesses, everything that is bad, that's been ongoing for years. We know that. But the positive, this is the chance when we can amplify that. When we can, just how we feed fears and, what happens after. Right now, Jupiter gives us the chance to feed our hopes, to feed our faith, to feed our dreams, our ideals, our aspiration, and to fight for it. What does fighting for it mean? In the most simplest way, sticking to it and being brave. If someone challenges you, just be brave. Like, what can anyone do to you right now? The world is in flames. like, playing extra safe does not work in 2022. Playing diligently does work like a charm, but trying everything in your power to be safe and diligent, no, this is definitely not the year. Risks are needed, and failing, and this isn't the failing which start a project or a job or something and you fail. It goes up in flame. No, 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 no. This is the type of failing where you know the truth, you know yourself, you're very, very, how should I say, aligned, and you still fall into the trap and you still allow that beautiful, glittery new friend to install themselves into your heart, and then you see that, well, underneath the glitter, it's not gold, it's bad. So, this is when we're all failing and falling for certain traps, but it's okay. It's okay because if we have sufficient diligence in our beings to very quickly get out of the trap, then we just had a very gentle reminder of how dangerous the energies are. And we need to almost obsessively stick to our own business. This is where whatever distractions comes in your life, right now that's not a usual astrologically sent distraction, that's the shadow ignoring astrology. Let's just be honest here. So, lust, it will drive you insane. It's an uncontrollable force right now. Don't listen. Don't listen. It's not worth it. Love, but the kind of love which you know immediately it's too good to be true. Don't fall for it. Play tough, play hard to get, and that's it. That's all you need to go do. Play hard to get. Honest, diligent, dignified in all ways, shapes, and form, and honesty. Tell that person honestly, not don't allow the person to guess this and that. Tell them honestly, this, these are my terms and conditions, this is who I am, and I'm not gonna make compromises right now, because so these are the advices that I perhaps omitted from my horoscope that I needed to include in here. So this is where just trust faith, trust purity, trust the true divine love that the heart knows. There is fake divine love. Yeah, there is when you're beautiful, you're special, you're magical, you're this, that, you're much better than anyone. That's fake divine love. That's the shadow. That's not even the shadow. The shadow is divine. That which mimics the light is neither the shadow, neither divine. It is something that wishes to truly mutate us into something we're not. So, this week you need to be careful, as I said. Purity, love, real love, common sense, and sticking to that which you know about yourself, about life, about everything. That is basically what you need to do, and you'll be fine. Now, let's see the guidance part. And I'm so very sorry if you're hearing the meowing sound. Well, I guess the spirit of lust got my cat, so she's trying to communicate with male cats. So then, immediately let's ask the universe what it is that it would like to share with us this week. Well, yeah. The Ten of Wands. Well, this week is gonna be very burdensome. But this isn't the kind of week where the burdens just crush you. This is where the burdens have to be cast off. As in, there are certain burdens in your life which are just optional and you choose to keep them there. Again, the judgment reversed. Now, for some people, this will be a week of big decisions when they turn something around. when they snap out of victim mode, when they snap out of everything, and basically they get like a wake up call, but a very natural wake up call. That judgment reversed, what does that say? A lot of people have power over me because I allow them. And why do I allow them? I kind of fear solitude. This needs to change. The tower, yeah. And this is where the tower is not divine intervention, not divine anything. The tower is this 10 of wands, and you're demolishing your tower, you're demolishing the 10 of wands, you're just serious. You're making big and important choices in your life right now, and chances are that you're aiming for something big and you're very, very serious about it. And this is where it's not just an ego trick. This is not, the way it ever used to be in your life. You know that there is something, as I said, extremely pure, extremely divine around you, within you. And this is where the weirdness is. The opposite of the divine may be around you very, very intensely, complimenting you or trying somehow to allure you to stay in passivity, to stay in the dream, to stay in the fantasy. But the divine right now is breaking your fantasy, breaking your bubble. The Fool reversed, Uranus. This is where the blessing is coming, but it's gonna be felt as a cold shower. You're not gonna feel it like the usual blessing. It's gonna like shock you. You're gonna see the ugliness of your passivity, if that even makes sense to some people. You're gonna see that you don't respect the person who you're choosing to be this week, if you know what I mean. Because going with the flow and dreaming and that self-care is absolutely fine, but there is healthy self-care and there is depressive self-care. So don't invite depression in your life. Something will shock you out of melancholy, something will shock you out of the Neptunian vibes, and only perhaps after a day or two will you see the blessing for what it truly is, because whatever this shock is, it already demolished something so negative and burdened. Yeah, the 10 of Swords. For some people, something negative truly ends this week. And I do believe that many people who are listening to this are not in the danger of the Black Moon Lilith on the new moon, because their work until this moment, their inner work, their spiritual work, their prayers, their honesty, their dignity, their humbleness has already fortified their purity so much that it's a fair fight. Actually, it's hard, but this is where the shadow is not stronger than you. Neither it is that much weaker than you, don't get me wrong, but it cannot do anything unless you agree. So when it's your will or the highway, and you're demolishing illusions, you're demolishing foolish plans, you're demolishing that which is really, really not necessary in your life. And don't get me wrong, for some people, the not necessary is magical. The not necessary is spiritual. The not necessary is something spiritual that is good, don't get me wrong, but has to die because it does no longer serve you. So this is why a lot of people are going to be in so much confusion. But regardless, something ends. The 10 of Swords is finally here, and the 10 of Swords is not defeat. It is the end of all the BS, truly. Again, it insists the 10 of Cups completion. 2 of Coins reversed. Your balance is gonna be upside down, and the King of Cups is reversed. You're gonna feel that you can only trust yourself, to be totally honest. You're gonna feel that truth and care and true love is only within your heart and not necessarily anyone who exists in your life right now. And when I say exists in your life, I only refer to people who you know physically, people who you know online, and maybe you have a history with them are not included in here. Only people who you met physically and shared something with. And the Six of Coins. Whatever change my... The Eight of Wands, yeah, Seven of Wands, Valor. The Seven of Wands, Herculean trial. This is a massive, massive spiritual exam that you are facing because you are a deeply spiritual person. And this is where the universe tells you, get out of religion, get out of spiritual practices, get out of grimoires, books, courses. No, 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 no. You're meant to do this from your purity, the purity of your heart and your connection to the divine. You don't need right now, not forever, but at least right now, you don't need anyone else. So stick to your own knowledge, to your ingenuity, to everything that you are originally, and don't let, as I said, the praises trick you. Don't let the false light make you passive. This is where you really need to stick to your goals, to your dreams, to your ambitions, to your faith, because you're doing it. Not now, not this week, but if you stay strong this week, the end of the year is going to be very, very rewarding. So, thank you so much for listening. I do hope that this was helpful and this was useful. And also, please stay tuned on my other channel because I'll also have a channeling video available very soon on their Dialogues with the Self. So thank you everyone for this. Thank you so much for all the comments, for all the supports. Wishing you all strength, and may the divine bless you with truth, with purity, and to guard you from that which is illusion.